So, are you guys into masturbation yet?
Wow, where do I even start with this movie, y'all? So first up, I want to start off by saying that I am sorry if the total runtime of this video scares you away, but trust me, it seriously is going to be so worth it. Just please listen to me when I say you have to see this whole thing to appreciate the insane content that this movie has. Okay, so here we go. A couple weeks ago, I found this movie called Spytrap. Then the other day, when I was trying to figure out what movie to review next, I came across it again looking at my collection, and I noticed a weird warning sticker on the front cover. It says, "Warning, some scenes contain mature material that may not be suitable for children under 13. Well, that's kind of weird. This looks like a typical standard kids adventure movie, right? Even the back of the tape, it says family action adventure. So what could be so mature about this movie that warranted a warning sticker? And then that caused me to do a little bit of research. Again, like a lot of the movies I review, I can't find a whole lot of information online about it. There was a couple of IMDb reviews, but that's about it. The little bit of info I did find out, no one was really discussing how awkward or inappropriate the movie was. So I decided to watch the movie for myself and see what this was all about. Spytrap, also known as Zits, was released a video in 1988, and the plot, well, it's simple, yet also not so simple. The tape says 4 whiz kids on a madcap mission to outwit the world's greatest spies. Well, that's wrong because there's actually 5 kids, not 4. Let's meet the characters. We have Denver, Erskine, Hoggy, Oscar, and Newton. They are all in an orchestra together with their teacher Miss Maple, as well as their own rock band. All 5 kids are between the ages of 13 and 14, and it only took 2 minutes and 30 seconds for it to get weird.
Polyandry is when they overlap. You have them all at once. It's also known as group sex.
Oh, okay. So a 13-year-old girl in a kid's movie talking about group sex. I guess I'll just let that one pass. But then, you know what? It gets amped up to another level when the kids are hanging out in somebody's room, and Erskine, he notices an apparent zit on his face.
If you want my professional opinion, there's absolutely nothing there. Anyway, everyone knows you can't have zits unless you have pubic hair.
Alright, maybe this is just going to be some sort of coming-of-age film, and we learn about the subtle changes of puberty happening in their lives.
What makes you think I don't have pubic hair?
I just assumed.
You just assumed wrong.
You don't get uptight. I'm relieved to hear it. I've had my punctuation already.
Punctuation?
My period, dum-dum. I ovulate. So, are you guys into masturbation yet?
Okay, now it gets kind of awkward. I seriously completely died laughing when I saw this. I just don't know what to think.
Anyway, it's no federal crime not to masturbate.
Well, she's not wrong there.
Well, I masturbate.
Oh yeah, me too, me. Too? Well, yes I do too.
Here I am, watching a kid's movie with 13-year-olds talking about masturbation. Man, I would have never imagined.
Masturbation makes you deaf.
Listen, I don't want to sound like some kind of sheltered prude. I'm just trying to watch this in the viewpoint of a 10-year-old kid who possibly may have rented this and wound up watching it either by themselves or with a parent. At this point, we're only 8 minutes in, and so far the movie has nothing to do with spying. Finally, the advertised plot slowly starts to develop, and the kids find out some terrible news that happened to their music teacher.
What's everyone whispering about?
Haven't you heard? Haven't we heard what? Miss Maple got mugged last night. Oh my God. Was she hurt? Was she ever? The mugger threw some kind of acid in her face and nearly blinded her.
And what's Newton's reaction to that news?
What a bitch.
Wow, awesome. So then the kids go to visit their teacher and they find out that the operation to fix her eyesight is going to cost a whopping $100,000. And again, Newton reacts.
How can we help her?
Yeah, what a bitch.
11 minutes in and I've already heard about group sex, masturbation, female ovulation, and now this. In fact, Newton doesn't stop there.
What a bitch. What a bitch.
Good for you, Newton. So the kids decide to raise money for Miss Maple's surgery. They all brainstorm various ideas, none of which they really agree on. But then Denver, well, she's got a brilliant idea.
What if we was to write a book for kids about sex? We could talk about female ejaculation, multiple orgasms, the G-spot, that sort of thing. Everything you wanted to know that the parents wouldn't tell you.
What am I watching? Okay, like, how does this script get passed and approved?
What's a multiple organism?
Pronounced orgasm, Oscar, not organism. It's what women have that men can't.
Okay, so, one of the things that one of the reviewers on IMDb stated was that this movie, quote, covers various subjects that teens talk about that everybody, not with their parents, talk about, like first love and sex. Okay, sure. 13-year-old boys do talk about sex and stuff when they're young. You know, they talk about boobs or whatever. Mama! But not female ejaculation and multiple orgasms. And they especially didn't talk about that with girls, right? Okay, so to add to that ridiculous scene, Erskine's reaction to her idea was not of shock and awe, but he says,
No. A book would take too long. We'd have to research it, and we'd have to write it, wait for the publisher to publish it.
Yeah, but I mean, the research part could be fun.
Got a dirty mind, Hoggy.
hold the phone. How is Foggy the one with a dirty mind? She's the one continually bringing up sex out of nowhere. Next, the idea they finally settle on to raise money is a bit silly. They decided to make up fake US military secrets to sell to the Russians for profit. They are fake because they use toy model airplanes to redraw as if they are real secret military blueprints. And they sell each one for like $25,000. It's a bit dumb, but the Cold War was still going on in 1988. They find this one Russian guy who works for the embassy to do the trade-offs with in secret locations, and by the end of the movie, they end up doing about 3 trade-offs. That is still a big part of the movie, but it's the uninteresting part. And I know you all want to hear more of the cringy underage sex talk, so let's get back to that. Early in the movie, during orchestra practice, Erskine is busted by his teacher staring at Denver's boobs. No big deal, he's just going through a new time in his life, becoming more and more interested with the female anatomy. But then fast forward, he gets busted again, but this time by somebody else.
You're doing it again.
Doing what again?
You're staring at my boobs. You're almost as obsessed with them as you are with Zits.
You're accusing me of staring at your boobs?
Well, how do you blame this poor kid? How do you not want to sneak a peek when your crush is constantly openly talking so graphically about sex? So fast forward, and the two of them are taking a walk on the sidelines of the football field, and one of the football players hollers at Denver and asks her to the movies. She's not interested, she turns him down, but then the subject of virginity gets brought up.
There's nothing wrong with being a virgin. Some very wonderful people happen to be virgins. Me, for example. I already been to the movies with him twice. All he wants to do is feel me up.
Feel you up as in... feel you up?
He doesn't believe in foreplay.
So maybe my memory's a little bad, but were 13 and 14-year-olds practicing foreplay? This movie's a bit too much. Then Denver questions Erskine on their relationship. She is clearly interested in him and says that she has a right to know what to expect. He then says that their relationship is, quote, humongous. And the word humongous, well, it seems to trigger her excitement level.
Humongous? You're doing it again, Erskine.
Doing what?
You're zeroing in on my boobs again.
I am, aren't I?
Whenever you're ready, I'm ready.
Wait a minute. I thought you weren't ready for that kind of thing. Yet.
When Morgan paws me at the movies, it's one thing. When a friend puts his hand on your heart, what's different?
Denver, I gotta say, you're tripping. You don't like him looking at your chest, but then you invite him to touch you. Like, what do you want from him? After this, it's back to the plot of the Russian spy business. They get more money out of him, but then this scene happens where Erskine is interviewing Denver, asking various questions. And then he asks her, what is the one thing that she is most afraid of?
That I'll end up with a chest as flat as an ironing board. My mom says not to worry, that she was a late bloomer too, but I'm not taking any chances. I give them all the encouragement I can.
What do you mean?
Well, every morning, I sit in front of the mirror for 5 minutes and I talk to them. Grow, titties, grow! Grow, titties, grow!
Oh boy. By now, it's like I've seen it all. And now it even gets more awkward. Later on, it cuts to a scene of Erskine and Denver hanging out in a bathtub of all places, listening to music. But then she decides to tell him about an interesting part in the book that she's reading.
Position of woman on top. There isn't
anything that automatically makes this position work. It is the freedom of movement. It gives a woman to seek her own satisfaction, which in large part explains why it is so effective for some women, especially women of masturbation type Roman numeral 3.
Okay, so Denver has clearly skipped beginner's sex ed and gone straight to Kama Sutra positions. You know, I would think that this would make Erskine feel a bit, you know, frisky, but he's like annoyed about it.
You know, you haven't heard a word I've said.
Zits don't itch. Anyway, there's nothing there but a figment of your imagination.
I can feel it when I rub. It must be just under the skin, waiting to pop like a time bomb.
And listen, I'll be the first to admit that I am no expert when it comes to picking up girls, but I'm no dummy that if a girl was into me and she was reading about sexual positions, I would definitely not be talking about pus-filled pimples, as that should probably be a turnoff. But it seems to have the opposite effect on Denver.
I came to a big decision last night. You know, a lot of women fake having orgasms, but not me. When I finally make love with someone, I'm gonna fake not having orgasms.
You know, you're a real number, Denver. Why are you gonna do that?
I read in this woman's magazine where it's a real turn-on for men. Trying to make women who have trouble having orgasms come off. So I figure why spoil their fun.
Okay, I give up. I don't even know what to think about this anymore. Watching this by myself was hilarious, but think about it. Imagine yourself as between like the ages of 10 to 13 years old and you're watching this with your mom or dad. I can't even imagine the embarrassment, but honestly, probably by within like the first 10 minutes, we probably would have shut it off, but oh, this is insane. So then of course, all that talk about orgasms, well, it leads Erskine into a trance.
You spend an awful lot of time on my boobs. Are you ready to you know what?
Now? Here? I think I'll take another rain check.
Ha! Gay!
You want to know what's even more crazy about this whole situation? They haven't even kissed yet. No, they haven't. Wouldn't they have at least kissed first and then move on from there? So the movie continues the story with the spy Russian stuff, and by now the American government has gotten involved and captured the kids. The US begins asking them questions about what's been going on, and in one sentence, Newton becomes my favorite character of the movie.
Maybe he'd be lenient on me because I'm black.
The kids then agree to work with the government to trick the Russians into giving them details on one of the leaders who goes by the name of the Thin Man. Then they go on a secret boat with the Russians, and for some reason, they treat the kids to some banana splits. Why did the makers of this movie decide to shoe in banana splits? So, you know, Denver can make a subtle sexual joke about them.
They're absolutely humongous.
At one point, Erskine secretly pulls out his camcorder to attempt to get footage of the man's identity, which he successfully does after Denver fakes throwing up.
I'm gonna be sick.
And then when she comes back...
I don't think split bananas agree with me.
Did you see that? Let's play it again.
I don't think split bananas agree with me.
She was winking to Erskine, right? Normally I wouldn't have thought much about that, but since Denver has had sex on her mind constantly through the whole movie, she's obviously referring to, you know, this movie. Like, it's just a masterpiece of absurdity. Now the movie is essentially over, but we still have details to patch up between Erskine and Denver's relationship. A mini montage starts with the song lyrics of, quote, "I'm going through changes."
I'm going through changes. I'm losing myself to you.
I mean it, Denver. You're terrific.
You honestly think so?
Anyone says you look weird is off their rocker.
You don't think I'm sort of flat-chested?
And Denver finally gets what she's been begging for.
I always thought you didn't want to, you know, touch me. Because you thought there was nothing there to touch.
That wasn't it at all. I swear it, Denver. I'll prove it. If your offer still holds.
Oh my gosh, this is seriously so uncomfortable to watch.
Go for it, Ersk.
Wow. That's the first time I ever actually touched a living girl's
Okay, time out. A living girl? Has Erskine been feeling up dead chicks?
Breast.
breast.
How was it?
It was humongous.
Was it really humongous?
Really. Humongous.
I'm glad my first time was your first time.
Likewise.
Who knows? Maybe we'll share some other firsts someday.
Oh, you know, like a kiss?
How do I feel? As high as a kite.
And there you have it, Spytrap. Look at the cover of this movie. Would you have believed for 1 second that everything I just showed you was in this movie? It's insane. Also, thank you so much if you made it to the end of this review. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel, leave me a comment, as I'd love to hear your thoughts on this ridiculous movie.
You know something, Ersk? I like you a lot. I may even love you a little.
Oh, yeah, of course, now they kiss.